Welcome to Between Two Columns. I'm your host, Dr. Bruce Stagg, and this is former educator, Mrs. Turner.
Hello.
Before we dive deep into the program, Ms. Turner, may I offer you some prune juice or some 6-month-old purse candy, or did you bring your own?
I have my own, thank you.
Okay,
I always carry a
wonderful.
stash with me.
Brought to you by our sponsor, Polygrip. Denture adhesive cream. Okay, all right. So, Ms. Turner, tell me, how does it feel being what the majority call a senior citizen in today's society?
Actually, being a senior citizen in today's society is, with everything that's going on, not a good thing because you're not treated like a senior citizen. You're treated basically like somebody who has to work every day, all day, just to pay your health insurance.
Quick question before we begin. Before we begin, let's go back to your Polygrip. How will your access to that be affected? Better, if you can't get it, will we have to worry about a flying denture epidemic?
Well, most people just gum whatever they need and forget about the Polygrip because you know that's a new product for some people. Once they get their teeth pulled, they just let their gums harden and don't use anything. So it wouldn't be a problem. Of
Really?
course, of course.
I'd never heard that.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Turner, there's a variety of things I want to go over with you today, but we have so little time, so I'll stick to the most important ones. But I'm going to start with the least first. Donald J. Trump. We don't acknowledge his title on this show. Am I right, audience? Okay. How do you feel about him?
Am I supposed to feel some kind of way about him?
Yes. How do you feel?
Okay.
How do you feel about his
Well,
presidency? How he
Number
was elected?
45.
If you want to give him a number,
Number 45.
Sure. Yes.
There's no love lost there. There's no love lost simply because he does not love anyone, including himself.
So, in terms of his actual presidency and him being elected, do you think there's some credibility to the fact that people are saying Russian hackers were involved, or do you just think it's hearsay?
I believe that it is true.
You believe it's
We'll
true?
never know because just like everything else, they cover up.
They cover up, like for example, James Comey, the former FBI director, when he was fired and he was soon replaced. Do you feel that that was also in agreement to the cover-up of the Russian hackers?
Let me put it to you like this. A heap see and a few know, and that's the way it's going to be.
Wow, powerful words. This person elected to the White House has basically been caught on audio tape saying he sexually assaulted a journalist who was interviewing him. What are your thoughts on that and this spotlight that's been put on sexual assault with the Harvey Weinstein and all these online celebrities? How do you feel about these sexual assault allegations?
Well, the truth will come out about 30 years from now. So those of us who will still be around, because I'll be around, those of us who will be around will find out the truth. Not now, but then.
Have you ever heard any stories in the education workplace or in the education system of any sexual harassment or anything of that nature?
It depends on what you call sexual harassment. There are some situations that are true sexual harassments. There are some that are hidden and never found out about. It just depends on who's doing what, where and when.
Where and when. So what do you think, should a woman or any person, should they go right out forward to the police, or should they just be silent? What do you feel on that? Do you feel that's something that they should do immediately? Do you think it's something that could harm the other person if they are a large figure? What do you think?
Well, it just depends on what the person that's being or that has been offended is able to prove. Most people don't want to find themselves in a situation of that nature.
Yes.
So you have to be able to document and prove that something happened in order for them to believe you and it depends on how much money the offender has.
I'm
So
sure.
we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, and I know it. I know you can't relate, but I understand.
Exactly.
You know, who would want to? All right.
True.
Sticking to Trump for a second longer, he has been at hard work dismantling Obama's legacy, especially with the Obamacare repeal. Would you say that if your insurance was taken, because at your age you are considered, well, that your age is considered a pre-existing condition, so if you took a tumble, would you say you'd fallen and you can't get up?
Well, what I would say is let's identify what Obamacare is. Obamacare, for most people, they believe that it's Obamacare, but it's a health act. It's not Obamacare. So get the facts straight in the beginning, and then you don't end up with a person who is going to spend 4 years trying to tear down what somebody else has built, and he's not doing anything. So his legacy will be what?
Dismantling Obamacare and replacing it.
Doubt that.
You don't think he's going to repeal it? His
No.
party's got a huge majority.
Well, we'll see. Time will tell.
So you're telling me that because
You're
the
twisting my words now.
no, ma'am.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that because Obama's name is connected to it, because the joke term is Obamacare, that Trump wants to go against it just because Obama's name is connected to it?
I'm sure.
You're sure? Why are you so sure of that?
What is the other reason?
Do you
What else would it be?
Do you think that it's because he's a black man, or do you think it's because he's Democratic? Do you think he would have done this to a white Democratic president?
I'm not sure of any of those answers, but I'm very sure that because the Affordable Health Care Act was enacted under President Barack Obama, then, and not under number 45, that is the reason for the itching and scratching about it.
So because he didn't get to it first,
Exactly.
he wants to dismantle it and create his
Exactly.
own.
Exactly.
Wow. All right. Another quick question before we dismiss the topic of healthcare. Your polygrip, how will your access be affected? Better yet, if you can't get it, will we have to worry about a flying denture epidemic?
No. What you might have to worry about is flying food, because as I said before, people will learn how to eat with no teeth.
Okay.
Okay?
Ms. Turner, with your background being in education as it is, what differences do you notice in today's kids and parents? What I mean by that is parents parent a lot more in different ways compared to how when you were raising your children and how when you were teaching children. What do you see the differences being?
I think the difference is the time factor. Most parents now have so much on their plate that sometimes the children are secondary, or they feel that they need to be more independent and accept more responsibility for their own care. Whereas before, the main goal of parents was to raise their children, to be respectful, and to understand and know that they do have responsibilities, but the parents were in the home more. So there's more in the world for parents to do and not really have a lot of time for their children.
But do you think that the way that children are disciplined now plays a factor into how they act? Because
I take the fifth on that.
I'm going to need you to answer, ma'am.
I take the fifth on that.
May I ask why?
I take the fifth on that. Not that I discipline my children with whippings or beatings or anything of that nature, but I take the fifth on that. I believe it's a personal choice, and so I'm not going to respond.
Okay, but not saying that beatings and whippings are, a huge factor. But do you think that parents discipline their children much more differently now than they did years and years ago?
So you asked me the question a second time a different way, and I'm going to say I take the fifth on that.
I'm asking, do you see a difference in the way children are acting, in the way they respect their parents?
I'll say this. I see that children are not getting what they need, which is love and attention.
Mm.
Not a lot of material things, but love and attention. And that's going to be the end of that question.
Okay. Not a problem, Ms.
Okay.
Turner. Social media has been called a tool for the curious and a tool for the wicked. How do you view social media as it stands today?
I don't use it.
But your children use it. What do you think about?
Well, they don't let me see what they're writing.
Do you think
And I
they're
can't
hiding
see-
something?
No,
They
it's not of interest to me.
All right. Finally, Ms. Turner, and I'm gonna need you to really speak on this one.
Okay,
It's
we'll
a
see.
topic of mass division in the DMV area. To lead us into it is a quote from a rather famous poet who's quite notorious for his affection of the color blue, which unfortunately I am not wearing. The quote goes like this: I smoke a blunt to take the pain out, and if I wasn't high, I'd probably try to blow my brains out. That was by the famous poet Tupac Shakur. Brilliant man. Anyway, Ms. Turner, what are your thoughts on marijuana legality? Are you opposed completely, or do you see more applications to it?
You really want me to answer that?
I do. Let's
Okay.
discuss.
So, whether it's marijuana, legalized drugs, illegal drugs, they all have an adverse effect on the body.
Hmm.
And so that's my answer to you. Pick and choose one.
Ms. Turner,
Yes.
do you see that marijuana, as it stands today, there are many studies that say marijuana has a huge positive reaction for the body. There are people who have cerebral palsy. There are people who multiple sclerosis.
Do they have to pay for the drug? Is it free?
They do have to pay for the
Okay.
drug.
So if they don't have to pay for it and it's helping them, that's one thing. But if you're saying to me you're going to legalize something and then you have to pay for it in order for it to help me get well, makes no sense.
Ms. Turner, Tylenol, you have to pay for that when you're not
Exactly.
well.
Exactly.
Do you not believe in the use of
Exactly.
Tylenol?
It's a drug.
Yes, but do you
And
believe
what
in the use
effect
of
does it
Tylenol?
have on the body?
It cures pain?
Not
relieves pain?
necessarily.
How do you mean?
Well, just because you take it doesn't mean that it's going to take away all of the pain that you have, and it doesn't. So when you tell me that you're going to legalize, or you say that the system is legalizing marijuana, 10 years from now, what are you going to tell me? When everybody's hooked and they got to pay for it,
So
and they don't have the money to pay for it legally, what are you going to do? You're going to go and get it illegally at a lower rate.
but marijuana doesn't have an addictive quality.
Yeah,
You're not
who
gonna
says
get
that?
hooked.
Who says that?
There are many scientists and studies that
And how
support
much are
marijuana.
they being paid?
How much are they being paid? That's I can't tell you,
Okay. Okay.
but there are actual videos and there are pictures and images that show the vast effect that marijuana, the vast positive effect.
There is a video and a
Mhm.
movie that shows that Superman can save the world, but does he really do it?
Oh.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Ms. Turner,
Yes.
marijuana, it cures depression. This has been proven. There have been many depressed people who have taken marijuana. Maybe they may have eaten it or they may have smoked it, but it has vast effects on the mental state and on the physical state. But
So what you want me to do? Change my answer?
no, ma'am. I see we're
Okay.
split here,
Okay.
and I understand where you're coming from. But I hope you also will leave the show today seeing that marijuana is not all bad just because it's not legal and you have to pay for it.
Corn liquor wasn't all bad.
Okay.
And then what did they do with that?
Okay.
Okay.
Well, Ms. Turner, we're about to wrap up. I told you to remember a message or a phrase, as we do here on this show. Do you have a message or phrase to leave the audience with today?
Let the Lord be praised.
Amen. Hallelujah. Thank you, Ms. Turner.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate you coming on today.
Bless you.
All right. Now it's Between Two Columns with Dr. Bruce Stagg and Miss Teresa Turner.